Well, the first thing is, it seems that there is more to the story than Russian imports. And the reason why, because the EU imports significant amount of natural gas and LNG from Russia. No one said anything. Turkey imports significant amount of oil from Russia, and Turkish exports of petroleum products to Europe is higher than that of India. And no one is saying anything about Turkey. The United States imports from Russia in the first 5 months of the year, this year, went up by 23%. No one is saying anything about it. The U.S. still import enriched uranium from Russia. No one is saying anything about it. Today, we have tankers arriving from Venezuela, delivering oil to the United States despite the sanctions. So it seems that there is more to the story than just Russian oil.
Well, Anas, the reality is India is the second largest buyer of Russian crude oil globally, behind China. That's a fact we can't deny.
Correct, but if you look at Navarro's arguments, for example, he's saying that India refiners are making a lot of money by importing significant amount and exporting significant amount, and this argument is false. And the reason why it is false, because if you look at Indian petroleum exports, petroleum products exports, before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and now it's virtually the same. So the idea that they are importing to export is not correct.
Well, Anas, what you're saying is, what you're saying is India is not a backdoor. That's the U.S. argument right now.
Correct. It's not. In fact, what we've seen since the Russian invasion is the fact that we have change in direction of trade. That's it. Just India was exporting those petroleum products to Asia, and they diverted that to Europe because Europe, or the EU, sanctioned itself from importing Russian petroleum products. So India basically is compensating for that, while the Asian market is supplied by the new refineries in the Middle East, in Kuwait, UAE, and Oman. So the idea here is, I seriously think that there is more to the story than just Russian oil. The last thing is, we know that President Trump does not want high oil prices. And if any restrictions, any major restrictions of Russian oil, is going to increase prices significantly.
Anas, the overall goal here was to hurt Russia. Do you think this is ultimately going to end up hurting India more?
Well, if you look at what's been going on right now, and there is some, of course, a lot of misinformation in the media. For example, this morning, our time, there was a piece of news saying that Indian refiners are going to reduce their exports or their imports from Russia in October. And the news said, well, because they are trying to be nice to Trump and they want to comply. This is absolutely not correct, because if you look at every October in recent years, imports from Russia declined in October. So the decline basically is natural.
So, Anas, I want your view on what this is going to mean for the global markets here. Do you think this has the potential to push oil prices up instead of down?
Not really. We are going to see, we've seen this before so many times. Everyone is going to play the musical chair game. The only difference between an actual musical chairs game and this game is that in this game there is chair for everyone. So it's not going to be a big deal. There will be confusion in the first few days. Always when we've seen those sanctions, there will be confusion for a few days and then everything settled after that.
But this could also have significant consequences for companies in India exposed to this tariff threat as well, at a secondary effect, right? I'm talking about the likes of Reliance, Nayara, the state-owned refineries as well. Your take on that?
Well, I think the bigger issue are everything non-oil, because the U.S. is importing most of the stuff they import from India. For example, 40% of generic drugs in the United States are imported from India. So other companies, the outside the oil sector, are going to be hurt more than the oil sector.
Outside of the oil sector. Okay, so if you were looking at these companies, perhaps sizing up an investment, you wouldn't be too concerned?
Well, we've seen this several times in the past. What we are going to see is we will see transshipment through other countries. We are going to see some companies basically moving some assembly lines outside India if this is going to last. So we've seen this so many times. I'm going to give you a quick example here. Historically speaking, China was the largest partner, trading partner of the United States. Right now, it's no longer China, it's Mexico. And why is Mexico? Because China moved its factories to Mexico. And that's why Mexico became the largest trading partner. But in reality, if you look at the numbers, China is still the largest trading partner of the United States. So we are going to see the same patterns if those tariffs are going to persist.